Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Live Life Golden Show. This is episode 23. Take your power back. I've been feeling a lot coming through on this topic. I've been watching a lot of people living in a lot of powerlessness, and it is time. It is time for us to take our power back. It is time for us to step back into the power that we have to create, and maybe to step into it like you've never done it before. If you are living in a state for a long, long time in these cycles of powerlessness, this is what the world is calling you to right now. I had a post a couple of days ago about everything that is happening in your life is an opportunity for you to manifest. It's an opportunity and a calling. It's an invitation for you to rise up and rise above. So as your challenges come, as the contrast comes, as life calls you to more, it is your opportunity to expand and grow, or to sink back down into victimhood. Those are the choices that we have right now. Many of us have lived our entire lives in victimhood. We've sat there in the blame game, blaming everybody else for what's happening for us. And we are being called to personal responsibility right now to rise above the world's conditions and to start creating our own realities. I know it's challenging. I know that the world is calling you to the opposite, to have these feelings that you're, not free, that you don't have any power, that things are being taken away from you. This is the thing that I'm seeing that I really want. Like the biggest message that I want to give today is it's about the truth, and it's about deciding what the truth is for us and not exactly what you're hearing. So, because we all create our own realities, if you really believe that, if you really listen to this show on a regular basis, I mean, if you're on episode 23, you're obviously a listener. If you listen to me at all, this is super, super duper important. It is easy for us to look at reality and say, it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's easy to do that. That's what we've been taught, right? I'm a realist. I see what's happening, and then I conduct my life. And when you do that, you actually don't conduct your life. You let circumstances conduct your life. So, in order to take the power back and to really become a powerful creator, we have to start deciding. We have to decide the way we want things to go. We have to decide to focus and put our attention on what we want to happen and not on what seems is happening, okay? Because there's a lot of seems what's happening out there. And I'm finding that a lot of that is not true. So I don't want to get into too many specifics because then this conversation is going to activate a whole bunch of crap within you. So I'm going to be very general in this conversation, but I'm sure that you can see the underlying things that I'm saying without saying them. Okay, so the very first thing that you have to do is stop projecting on what you do not want. So I have many people that will hit me up and they're like, this looks like this is what's going to happen. Okay. And they take it as truth. So when you take something that looks like it's going to happen and you put a whole bunch of story around it that says this is what's going to happen and I don't want it to happen, and you're fussing and fighting against it, you are actually creating more of it. You are creating more evidence that will make it seem like that's what's going to happen. Okay. This is reality creation, identity creation at its deepest, at its strongest. We are taking back our power and we are deciding what frequency we are tuning into. Okay. So I recently had a friend who went to the city, a city that we have been told there's going to be certain forms in order to get into restaurants and things, right? This was a big issue. And I talked her through it, and we talked about frequency, and we talked about how to get in line with that frequency and to release what had been heard, to let it go, right? To let it go. She goes to that city, and none of what she was told is actually going on. So, this is what I'm telling you guys. You have to really be diligent about what you're deciding for the reality that you're creating. Now, my husband had friends that went to the same city, and they actually had to show some identification and some forms. Now, they were tuned into a different frequency. This is how we create our own realities, by deciding for ourselves how things are going to go, how we're going to be able to get through things, how we're going to be able to exercise our freedom, how we're going to be able to conduct in a reality that works for us. So we have to stop like fighting against and start deciding for. Oh, that is so good. We have to stop fighting against and start deciding for ourselves how things are going to go and how we are going to manifest conducting ourselves in a world that is calling us and inviting us to rise above, calling us and inviting us to become the powerful creators that we are. That's what this is all about. And I want to give you a little relief today. And I want to give you a little pause for reflection today. And the biggest thing that I am hearing from every spiritual teacher, from everyone who is in a higher frequency right now, is that we are coming to the end of all of this contrast. And we are stepping into something that is going to be really, really wonderful, and a place where people will feel more joy, will feel more freedom. So know that that is coming. Take my word for it, because I feel it. I'm getting downloads. I am getting instructed to tell you all that it is more important right now for us to really filter information, to be really careful about what you're bringing into your field, and really careful about what you're allowing yourself to focus upon. If every conversation you have, if every post you're reading, if every channel on your TV and every channel on your radio is conducting an energy within you that feels like misery or struggle or dissatisfaction, you have to change that. You have to change that. You've got to create more of a foundation for yourself of what you actually want to resonate with. And, you know, I've heard time and time again, I've heard people who will give me excuses about why they watch the news because they want to be informed. Well, if we have not seen this year more than ever that the news is misinformation, if you don't believe that, that's okay. But what I want to tell you is you will never feel good after you watch the news. You won't do it, because even aside from everything that's gone on in the world in the last year, anything that's been going on in the news channels has been nothing but what's going wrong in the world. And if you are tuned into what is going wrong in the world, you cannot possibly feel what is going right. And you cannot possibly activate what is going right in your own world. So this is taking the focus off of that, and it's deciding what you will allow in your field, because your field is what you conduct from. Right? That field is like everything that comes to you, everything that you're allowing, all of the conversations that you're creating, all of the people that you're coming in contact with, you know, the grocery store clerks and the bank tellers, and you know, just the people that you meet all day long. Those people are resonating with you, and if they're talking about something that you don't want to talk about, I'm going to give you permission to excuse yourself. I'm going to give you permission to get away from that conversation. And trust me, I get caught in them all the time. My husband and I very, very often, and he is better at it than I am. I will totally admit that, because I am a human being, of saying, let's not talk about this anymore. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's okay to say that, because it's like, this conversation is not making me feel good. And the thing about our society, and the thing about our minds, and the thing about the mechanism of the mind is it likes to focus on what it's dissatisfied about so that it can work on problems, right? The mind wants to feel important. Remember, you are not your mind. I've said this like a million times. And if you don't have a meditation practice, you are going to want to get one. And let me tell you why. And I have a beautiful teaching that I am offering right now. It's on my website. I have a new website, livelifegolden.com, where I teach you how to get into the depths of that meditative state, which is zero state awareness and quantum physics, so that you can separate yourself from the mind. When you create the space from the mind, you start to become at choice. And then you start to go Do I want to think about that? Do I like the way that thought makes me feel? And if it doesn't, you start to become at choice about what you will focus upon. And I do this so often because there's so many things that are so easy to focus on right now that are causing us misery, that it is really about diligence, doing our diligence in our own life experience, in our own fields, to decide what we will allow and what we won't allow. If you are, experiencing a lot of negative people and a lot of negative conversations, I want you to know that that comes from within, that everyone is a reflection of how we are feeling inside. So you've got to do your own cleanup work. So the first thing that I always offer is meditation. If you need help, I have a teaching. The second piece of that is like going within. We've got a lot of healing work to do. So we've got to go within and we got to ask ourselves, where is the foundation of these feelings? If you've been feeling super powerless, super not free, if you're not feeling free, you got to go within. You got to ask yourself, where does that come from? How do I feel freer? Start asking those questions. How do I feel more in my power? What makes me feel in my power? Some people right now, fighting makes them feel powerful. Protesting makes them feel powerful. When I see protests on the side of the street, I'm beeping and waving. I love it. I love America. I love that we can do this. I saw a peaceful, a protest for peace yesterday, for Afghanistan. And I was like, I love expression. I think expression is important. But the real connection that we have to ask ourselves is, how is this making me feel? Is this making me feel angry? Is this making me feel dissatisfied? Is this making me feel like I don't have power? Because whatever you're bringing to the table is what you're going to create more. So if you are in protest and you are like, yes, we are united and we are free and we are feeling great and we are feeling passionate, awesome. But if you're out there pissed off and ready to hurt someone and ready to do harm in the society, no, like that's not what we need right now. What we need is a world that rises up to love. We need a world that rises up to unity and standing together and being at peace with our own choices and our own decisions and not fighting people for them. Okay? That's what we really need right now in order for us to come back together in this beautiful society of wholeness. We are all one. Whether you want to believe that or not, we all come from the same expression of energy. So when we come back together and we decide that and we get back into our energetic connection to unconditional love, which is what meditation will do for you, it'll bring you into that state of energy, that energy flow, right? That's receiving mode. When you put yourself in a meditative state, you put yourself in receiving mode of all the things you are asking for. And you put yourself in a flow of higher frequency where you are going to have access to higher thought forms, right? We talked about thought forms in one of my other shows, and it was really deep. The fact that there's this field of energy and this field of information, right? All around us, there's these fields, right? And we are tuning into them based on how we are feeling and how we are conducting. So the thought forms that we're having are based on that radio station that we're tuned into. So if you're tuned into frustration, anger, annoyance, guess what? The world is going to give you more reasons to feel like that. If you stop, if you turn off that noise, if you turn off social media. There was a suggestion I actually had to watch The Social Dilemma. Good stuff. It's on Netflix. It helps you to kind of break the addiction to the social media. If you're a scroller, if you keep scrolling through the news feeds and scrolling through Instagram, I'm going to put you to the test here and tell you that that is a giant waste of freaking time. We got to pull away from these addictive habits that are causing us to be in misery, that are causing us to be unproductive and unfulfilling in our life experiences. Do you know how much more things you could get done during the day? And I'm talking to myself here, get done during the day if you stopped scrolling social media. And it can be challenging when you have a business on there. Let me tell you, you're trying to connect with people, you're trying to create things with people, that can be challenging, but it's like enough is enough. So you've got to ask yourself, if your news feed is making you feel a certain yuckiness or you're getting charged up from it, you got to start stepping away from it. It's like any addiction that's not healthy. You've got to start stepping away from it. So The Social Dilemma was a great movie. The other movie that I saw that I absolutely loved was Soul, and that was on Disney Plus. And the reason why I love Soul was because it really kind of made you think about like what's really important in life. Are we always chasing after something? Are we always chasing after this thing that is like elusive and we can't catch it? Because remember, when you're chasing something, it's running away. Or are we allowing? Are we receiving? Are we being present to life? Right? Ask yourself that daily, many times daily. Ask yourself, am I being present to life? Am I being present to the people around me? Am I offering love and goodness, or am I caught up in my crap? Am I caught up in the world's crap? Am I giving my kids all of my angst? Listen, if you're feeling angst, you are bringing angst to your family. That's the energy that you are conducting in your house is angst. When people walk into my house, they go, "This I feel like I'm getting a hug when I walk into your house because our house is brimming with love. We are focused on love. We are bringing our attention to love all the time." Especially with teenagers. Good Lord. You don't focus on love, you're going to jump off a cliff. I had a situation the other day. My daughter, God bless her, she was doing wonderful things. She was she was emptying the dishwasher. Like, you want to make mom happy, either put the dishes in the dishwasher or take the clean ones out. Like, that makes me so happy. When I open the dishwasher and there's no dishes in there, I'm just like, yes, like somebody is supporting me and I love this, right? Like, teamwork makes the dream work. So I was actually napping when this happened, and God bless her, she was putting the dishes in the cabinet, and I have no idea how this happened, but they all fell out and smashed everywhere. So I hear this like ridiculous noise, but I'm napping, so I don't care, right? So I go back to my nap, and I come and I actually checked Snapchat before I got up from a nap. And that's how I found out that every single one of my dinner plates was broken. Now, the funny story about the dinner plates, right, is for a very long time, I would say probably a year to 6 months, I've been hating on my dinner plates and they were expensive. They were like Pier 1. I had to have Pier 1 plates when we moved here, which makes no freaking sense to me now that I think about it. But they were all chipped. They were all chipped. Like, every single plate had a chip in it, right? And I was just like, I'm over these plates, but I can't justify. This is where I am in my life, because back in the day, I go buy plates like that. Like, it's, no big deal. But my thought now is like, I can't justify going and buying plates when I have plates. That just seems really silly to me. Well, don't you know, all the freaking plates broke. So if that's not a manifestation. So be careful what you're hating on in your life, because you could destroy it by hating on it. I just want you to really check in with that. So if you've got like an old car, or if you've got, whatever it is, old appliances, whatever, if you're hating on them, they're probably going to break, because everything is energy, right? Like, everything is feeling our energy. Everything is conducting from our energy. So now I got no dinner plates, people. And so so I go to Target the other day because I'm like, holy shit, I have no plates. Like, how are we going to eat dinner with no plates, right? Like, don't even factor in paper plates. So I go to Target. There's no plates. Like, not, at least not the ones I want, because I wanted a particular plate. I had bought these little dinner plates. Oh my God, I'm so rambling, but I wanted the same ones. So I bought these little salad plates and I wanted them to match. So I go online, find the plates I want, and I order a box of them. So I'm like, awesome, great, got the plates I want. I'm feeling really good about it. They're like in sets of 4, right? So now I have 4 mugs that I didn't need. The dinner plates in the bowl, the salad plates in the bowls, yes, great. But the dinner plates, we have 4. And we have 4 people in our family, but when we're all together, we have like 10. So now I'm in search of more plates. Good Lord, help me. Help me, Lord. I'm going to find these damn plates. So be careful what you wish for. That was the lesson there. But the secondary lesson in that, actually the most important lesson in that, was I didn't have one single bit of anger towards my daughter, because I was like, and she was like, oh, that's why you didn't get mad, because you really wanted new plates. And I was like, it's just putting things in perspective and going, you know, she was so sweet to like be helping me out. But if I was in a state of irritation and frustration with her, that definitely could have been like a straw that broke the camel's back, and it could have caused me to get really upset with her and to yell at her and create a fight with her. So it's just interesting, because remember this, the law of attraction is not what happens to you, although that is kind of the law of attraction what I did there, but it's how you respond. So, how I responded to her actually told me where I was and where I am in the field of perspective. So, like in manifestation, I could see how I was personally responsible for those plates breaking. So, we're not victims, we're creating all of it. So, I immediately saw how I had a responsibility in that plate breaking situation. Didn't know I was going to share that one. All right, so let's go on to our lessons and things that, well, that was actually pretty helpful, I think. Okay, so you will know what you are tuned into by your conversations, how you're feeling, and the people and situations you are meeting during the day. You will know by how you respond, by how you are responding to those people. If you are jumping right on the train of these negative conversations, you know that it's already within you. If you're backing away from them, if you're trying to be an uplifter, if you're in those conversations, listen, I have not mastered this yet. There has been a lot of contrast for us to overcome. So I am still working on this myself. So nobody is perfect, but definitely my foundation is definitely more of joy and love and freedom and peace. Like that's what I like to focus upon. You take what you are hearing as truth. Okay, so let's just go back to this. You take what you are hearing as truth, because I'm seeing a lot of people do this. So you hear something on social media, you hear something on the news, your mother-in-law calls you, whatever it is, whatever is coming into your field, you take it as truth and then you blow it up. This is what I'm seeing happening with my friends, with my loved ones. You blow it up and then you create a lot of anxiety around it. And when you do that, you actually create more of it. So then you get more evidence of whatever you just blew up. And then it's much harder to conduct from that place because you've given all your power away. You've given all your power away. So what you have to do is when you hear something, the best thing you can do is go within and ask yourself, what is this bringing up for me? What is this asking to clear from me? And start working with those energies, and then invite in that non-physical support, invite in that source energy to help you to release. I am launching a new program. I'm super excited about it. I believe it's going to launch September 1st or that first week. It's getting a little dense with the calls and stuff. So I'm offering transformation calls. These transformation calls are transformative. That's the purpose of them, is to create a transformation for you on this call and to see if this program is right for you. I do not want people that this is not right for, so I am very selective about who is coming into the program. So this is not a pressure sales call. I don't do sales. That's not what this is about. This is about transforming something in your life for you because you felt called to do a call with me and then seeing if this is right for you. Listen, people get afraid of like the money and being sold, and I get that. I definitely don't like being sold myself. I actually kind of really hate that. I hate being sold to. I hate inauthentic uh, spiritual leaders. All of that stuff like makes my skin crawl. So this is really about connecting with you on a level of something you need to shift in your life. That's what this is really about. This program will take your life to a new level. I promise you. There is no doubt about it, because we're going in and we're cleaning out every single area, and we're going to train your mind to create your life. So hop on a call if that's interesting to you. You can email me at livelifegolden@gmail, and also check out my new website. I have a new website. How exciting. livelifegolden.com. That's like my podcasting website, and then we're throwing some more things in there. So I've got some exciting stuff going on that feels really good and really scary all at the same time, but I'm doing it because I feel called. I feel called to assist That's all I'm doing. I'm just assisting. I'm assisting you in the power that you have to create. And that is super cool. So, how do you take your power back? That's what this conversation is about. I'm going to get back on task for you right now. How do you take your power back? Oh my God, you guys are going to be so sick of me saying this. Have a meditation practice. Jesus. Can we have a meditation practice? Jesus had a meditation practice, for crying out loud. That's why he went to the mountain. That's why he did it, because he needed quiet. He needed to quiet his mind. He needed to connect with God. And that's what this is all about. It's connecting with that inner truth of who you are. And if you want to get sciencey, if you're like turned off by the spirituality part of it, the science part of it is zero state awareness, which is where everything is created from. So I also have that meditation teaching on my website. It's an hour-long teaching, and it's life-changing. It is, especially if you think you've never been able to meditate before. Go within, ask for the healing. Join my challenge. This is like, am I being like salesy on this thing? What the hell? But no, this is all in the ways that I can assist you in creating. Focus on what you can do. We have to start asking ourselves this. So this is interesting. I was at a party on Saturday, and there was a gentleman that I was talking to about a concert. He was going to a concert, some like punk rock concert. And he was saying how, I was asking him what kind of forms he needed for the concert. I love being general with this shit. And he was like, no, I just had to go and I got a cat test and I went to CVS and it was like 5 minutes and blah, blah, blah. And I went to this concert and it was great and we had a really good time. And I was like, how funny, because I have other people who have said like, I can't go to a concert. Like, I'm not free. I can't go to a concert because this is what they want. This is what it's looking like they're going to want. Right. And I love concerts. I love live music. It's one of the things that brings me the most joy. So I absolutely freaking refuse to believe that there's going to be a day in my life when I'm not going to be able to enjoy a live concert because I don't have a form. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to activate that in my experience, right? So I'm like, yeah, so there's ways, right? So like just ask yourself, because where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is an activation, there is a way. So when you set up a determination, when you decide and you are determined, that's when shit happens. That's when you create. And I see a lot of people doing that, and it's absolutely amazing, but they are coming from a determined vibration. This is the difference between a determined vibration and an I am not free. They're taking away my freedom. That's a different vibration. Determination is we are who we are. We know who we are, and we have the power to create. That's determination. And that's where we need to stand right now as a people in our society to conduct the beautiful life that we want to live, the free and beauty and live music and fun and freedom. That's what we want to create. So we've got to focus more on that creation, on that. Get the difference? Hopefully you get the difference. If you don't, email me. I'll explain it some more. I'm sure tomorrow I'll do a post on that. Ask yourself if what you are in resistance to is worth it. When you kick and you scream and you put up a fight and it creates a lot of misery in your life, you got to ask yourself, is this really worth it? Or is there another way? Because when you're in resistance and you're kicking and screaming against stuff, what happens is you block all the blessings that could flow. You block all of the miracles and all of the angels that could come in and help you and move you through it. You get stuck in a resistant vibration. So we have to take a deep breath. We got to step back. We got to let the energies, remember I've told you guys this before, we got to let the energies tell us where to go next. So you hit a roadblock, right? You hit a roadblock. It's an issue, right? Then you got to ask yourself, what are my other choices? What else can I do in this situation? Is there nothing I can do right now? If there's nothing I can do right now, I'm just going to step back. I'm going to pause. I'm going to let the energies conduct. I'm going to let them like get into place, right? Like click into place for what I'm wanting to create. The things that you can do that are part of your power, that will really conduct powerfully, these are the things you can do. You can ask yourself what you want, and you can write it down. When you write it down, remember, writing is the most powerful form of focus. When you write it down, that's when you conduct, right? I just did this recently with a couple of things. One was my hairdresser. So I was having just a few things go wrong in my hairdresser department. Wasn't my hairdresser's fault. Definitely take my own personal responsibility for being dissatisfied. And I created situations where I couldn't make appointments. Like one time I got sick, another time I forgot. Weird things were happening. But if I asked myself overall if I was getting what I needed from that situation, the answer was no. So I pulled back. I wrote a list of what I wanted. And I wasn't desperate, but I definitely needed to get my hair done at that moment. So I wrote it down, waited a couple days, did some research, activated the channel, right? So I did a little research on Facebook. I think I told this story. But the result was I found someone who I like, fine. My hair came out a lot lighter. This is also so first world. Came out a lot later, but I like it. I actually really like it. So change is good. Sometimes we got to embrace the change to see what happens. And I feel good. I feel lighter about that whole situation. And I feel like there's a flow to it that may change, but for now, it's really working. So you got to ask yourself, what is the energy telling me to do next? Because the energy will always tell you where to go next by how it feels, by what opens up, the channels that open. Okay. Let's see. You are worth it. I wrote that down. You are worth it. Okay, managing your information load. That's super, super important. Like connecting with what's coming into your field and does this feel good? Do I need to be on this all the time? Do I need to be taking this in all the time? Is this really making me feel good? Right? Like, are these addictive things that I'm doing? Are they really foraging some production and fulfillment in my life? So we've got to really look at the addiction to miserable thoughts too, because remember this, and this is something that I definitely work on. And there's times in my life when it's easier and times in my life where it's a challenge. And recently I've gone through like a big challenge with this heavy, dense energy, like just really heavy, really, I was not eating a lot of carbohydrates and somebody said that was my issue, but interestingly, I didn't change the way I was eating and I had a release of energy. So I'm not sure. I imagine that it was some kind of spiritual thing because I'm feeling a lot lighter, but I was feeling some really heavy, dense energy where I was just exhausted all day long. And I was really battling with some thoughts and really battling with some up levels. I always call those up levels. Whenever you go through a depressed state, it's an up level, because if you think about a trampoline, like the further you go down, the further you go up. So I always think about that whenever I'm in those moments, and I allow myself those moments. I do not beat myself up for those moments because they are important and necessary to my expansion and growth, to being able to offer to people that I understand. I understand when you're low. I get it. It happens and it's okay to embrace that scope of our emotional scale and then to play in it, right? To play in it, to show myself like what is going to make me feel better right now. Maybe I don't want to feel better right now. Maybe that's not where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm just supposed to sit in this for a little while and get what I'm supposed to heal, release what I'm supposed to heal from it. So that does happen. Your mind is always looking for reasons to be dissatisfied. So when you know that, you can look at the thoughts that are creating the dissatisfaction and you can ask yourself, okay, what do I do about this? I can sit down and meditate. I can take a nap. If you're at work, it's a little more challenging. If you're surrounded by little kids, it's a little more challenging. But what can I do? Can I turn on some good music? Can I watch a funny movie? And this is not about distracting yourself. This really is about soothing yourself, right? Soothing yourself. And we can't go from being like super depressed to super happy. That's like not sustainable or attainable. So we've got to go gently, right? So we got to pull our thoughts up gently, whether it's through music or through talking to somebody we love. I realized the other day I did a transformation call and love this woman. Oh my goodness. And we just rocked it. I was floating for the rest of the day. And so these transformation calls are also lightening my load as well. Even though we're talking about like serious stuff, there's always an energy release that I do during it. So you get a sample of my work, and just feeling that lighter energy, like that uplifted me for the rest of, probably for a few days I was feeling it from that. So We have the power to do that when we step out of the mind and we put ourselves in zero state awareness, right? That meditative state, and we let ourselves get super duper quiet. And there's lots of guided ones. There's a guided one in my in my new teaching, but there's also guided ones on YouTube that are free, and I love them. Like I love Joe Dispenza, I love Fred Dodson, so you can go there. Or music. Music is great for quieting the mind. Or silence. Silence is actually very productive. I do that very often. I will just do complete quiet. Sometimes I'll put earplugs in so that like I can't hear anything, and that's amazing. But just getting into that super quiet place. So, cleaning up the areas that you feel powerless about is asking yourself. It's no longer distracting yourself from your emotions, and it's asking yourself, what the hell do I have going on? Why do I feel this way? Where does this come from? Can I please let this go? And then working in the energy field where you're just breathing and you're releasing it, you're allowing yourself to feel it so that you can actually heal it. My program is also good for that. Focusing on what makes you feel good allows you to up um your vibrational frequency, as long as you don't have a lot of these lower density things going on. If you've got a lot of the lower density stuff going on, like the belief systems are screwed up, you're in a lot of trauma, you think about your traumas a lot, you get triggered a lot, we got some work to do. You got to find somebody that can help you release these systems, these energies. And I would love to say you can do it on your own. I have not done it on my own, so I can't say that. I always love working with people because I do feel like we are together as a collective, that we are in relationships for a reason. And someone outside of you can always give you better perspective, give you higher perspective. I was thinking about all the people in my life who have done that for me. And I'm so grateful that I've had these beautiful teachers and energy healers along the way that have literally helped me to become who I am today. Release those things. Oh, this is something else I was thinking about. This is like the show of random. So I was thinking about this the other day, and this could hit a nerve for some people, and that's not my intention, but I have to say this because I got a little triggered myself. So I have to say this, and it doesn't come off. I don't want it to come off as like justifying, but I want people to get this. I really want people to get this. So I had a friend from high school who recently died, and unfortunately had taken his own life. And now I haven't spoken to this person in, geez, I think the last time I saw him was at my wedding, and that was like 30 something years ago, or 29 years ago. So I had posted this thing about feeling good, about focusing on good and feeling good. And he passed away like a couple weeks ago. And an old friend of mine posted on my thing and said, why haven't you said anything about this person? And I thought, and I deleted the comment because I was like, there's like, this doesn't even belong on my in this particular post. But I started thinking about it and how I don't really acknowledge stuff like that. And this is why. Most people, maybe I should have, I don't know, but I didn't feel inspired to. So why the hell would I? I don't do things that I don't feel like. If I'm not getting a download about it, it's not going to happen. So one reason is I have a very different perspective on death than most people, even suicide. I have a very different perspective. My perspective is that we're all part of infinite energy, and we all have a destiny here, and we're all going to go at a certain amount of time. This is why I'm not afraid of illness. I'm not afraid of contracting things. Like, I'm just not afraid because I'm not afraid of death, right? I mean, if I was faced with death, maybe I would be afraid of death, but I don't have the same perspectives. When someone dies, I'm kind of like, ooh, great, they're part of non-physical. Like, I'm not happy when people die, but I don't have the same trigger that most people do, right? The loss. I don't feel, and I figured out why. Through this post, I figured out why. Because I don't hold grief in my body. I have healed from every single person who has passed away. And I have healed from all the things that have happened to me that have created grief inside of my body. So my grief is not triggered every time someone dies. And especially when someone dies that I didn't have a relationship with anymore. This was a person that I went to elementary school with, and middle school and high school, and I hung out with and I partied with, but I didn't have a relationship with. So I didn't need his death to bring me to a triggered state of sadness. I didn't need it. And that's not to say that people that feel sad about his death are wrong. Absolutely not. We have to grieve, when there's that loss of physical experience. I definitely felt grief and sadness for his wife and his kids, for sure. I felt that. But it was private. And I didn't feel like I needed to share it. Everybody deals with things differently. And I think when we come across and we judge people, we really put ourselves at a disservice, because it's like we're not offering our own love and understanding. So my deleting of comments sometimes is really more about my energy and conserving my energy, because I feel that my energy is necessary in higher frequencies, not in arguing on Facebook or for justifying what I do on Facebook. Like, listen, I'm given a lot. I definitely feel like my flow of energy is intense, and it's going to be channeled in a certain direction, and it's not going to be channeled where I don't feel like it's appropriate. I guess that's what it was. I didn't feel appropriate in speaking about someone that I don't really know. That's it. Boom. So, are you using things as your excuse to release your sadness? It's okay. I mean, it's good. Like, we have to release sadness. We have to allow for these energies to move through us. The part that gets us stuck is when we have done this over and over and over again and pushed down our emotions and not allowed ourselves to heal from things that have happened a long time ago. So these things will call us to it. That's what trauma is all about. That's what contrast and challenges are all about, is there are opportunities to heal. There are opportunities to release lower dense energies that no longer serve us. And that's part of our expansion and growth of being here. So if you're not fussing and you're not fighting against it and you're not trying not to feel it, right, by drinking and doing drugs and whatever your addiction is, if you're not doing that, then you give yourself a place to really connect with that source energy, that infinite energy that is flowing through you. And then death becomes something very different. When you put yourself in the spiritual realm, there is no death. Like, you feel the energy of non-physical. You feel these beings with you all the time. You see them. I mean, you see them in birds, you see them in butterflies. I had a really cool synchronicity with butterflies with one of my dear friends, and she was in my last group coaching, and she was with her uncle during hospice, and he had passed away, and there was this really cool synchronicity with butterflies, and a friend of mine on Facebook who paints, and it was beautiful, and it was synchronistic, and it was, to me, it was a message from her passed away uncle, and it was beautiful. And so those signs, those miracles, those blessings are all around you. But if you are blocking it with your grief and your sadness and your refusal to let these things heal and work through you, then you won't see them as much. And then death will feel very final, and it will feel very awful, and it will make you feel very powerless, for sure, for absolutely sure. Okay. So now you have to really connect with and contemplate what makes you feel good, what brings you up, what uplifts you, what makes you feel lighter. What makes you feel lighter? Are you an uplifter? Oh my goodness, are you an uplifter? Like, when you walk into a room, do people feel better? Are you lighthearted? One of my favorite things in the world is being lighthearted. I love making people laugh. I love being silly. I had a really funny thing happen at the gym the other day, and I was like, I'm an adult and I want to make fun of that. And somebody said, "You are so not an adult." And I was like, yes. Because I don't really want to be that serious. Like, nothing is too freaking serious. And the fact that we are living in this serious, dense, ridiculous reality of bullshit that we're making up as we go along is insane to me. Like, we've got to take our power back. We've got to take our joy back. We've got to take our freedom back. And when we do that, we're going to offer it to other people. We're going to walk around and make a difference. We're going to make a difference in everywhere we go, in everything we do. We're going to make a difference because we're not carrying around this bag of bullshit. That's what I'm going to call it right now. This bag of bullshit. That's what it is. I'm sorry. And if you don't agree with me, that's okay. And I don't know why you're listening to me if you don't agree with me. Hey, just take what works, okay? All right, so what makes you feel passion? What makes you feel passionate? What uplifts you? What gets you? And maybe it is this darker stuff right now. Maybe that does make you feel passionate. Maybe it does get you excited. That's fine. That's fine. Just don't come near me with it. What makes you creative? Are you being creative? Our nature is to create, to be creative, whether it's writing or artwork or gardening or being out in nature or studying something that really gets you excited. We all have those buttons. We all have those things that really turn our attention, and we lose time. We lose time when we're involved in them. And that is so healthy and productive and freeing. It's so freeing. It's almost like meditation, because you take your mind off of the baloney and you put yourself in a state of creation, and boom, you make beautiful things. And when you make beautiful things, the world can give you more reasons to find beautiful things. Gratitude will always get you out. Always, always, always. And sometimes it's just like this little reach, you got to reach like what feels good right now, what's good right now, what can I look at, what can I focus on. I love to, we have like a ton of, my husband's really into like the hummingbirds. Well, so am I. But we have a ton of hummingbird feeders. So I will just stare out my back window and just watch these hummingbirds. And man, does that jazz me up. I just love it. I love it. So get some bird feeders, whatever you can do to call in nature, to focus. I've got flowers. Oh my God, I have flowers. I'm so excited. And this is a really good indication if you believe you have a black thumb. I shifted that shit. I have never kept anything alive, and I made a determination, here we go, to keep my plants alive. And guess what I'm doing? I'm watering them. And guess what I'm doing? I'm not watering them too much. Like, I figured it out, right? There's a science to this shit. I go out there, I pay attention to them. I'm happy. I breathe on them. I love them. Every time I look out my window, I'm like in awe of them. Right. And I think before I probably ignored them, and I definitely didn't water them enough, and I got too busy, and now they're important to me, and I'm determined to keep them alive. And it's been months. So I'm very proud of myself. I really am. I'm super happy. And I have color outside my window, which is super fun. Nature will always get you there. God, the ocean does it for me for sure. But any kind of nature, the woods, the sunshine, that vitamin D I live for. People, music, precious moments, like where can you conduct from where you are taking your life back and you are deciding in every moment that it is yours to create? How can you take your life back and stop giving it away to social media, and stop giving it away to the news programs, and stop giving it away to the government? Take it back. It's yours to create from. I actually saw a post about a woman who was saying that she's been traveling, and you know, there was a little bit of fear in the post, but the truth of the matter was that she was doing it despite her fear. And what she was finding is just beautiful places and beautiful people, and a flow of energy that felt really good to her. So, if you feel like you can't travel, well, maybe you can travel and find places around your home. How can you do it? That's the question about every freaking little thing. How can you do it? Instead of telling yourself, I can't do this, ask yourself, how can I? How can I activate a little bit of energy in the direction of my dreams? How can I do it? And that doesn't mean, because there's a disconnect with the how thing, because like when we're trying to figure out how we're going to live our dreams, the how becomes this like impossibility. What I'm saying is, when you open up the channel to how, right, and you just say, what can I do right now? What can I do right now that will put me in the direction of that, will open up the field to that, will activate more energy of that? This podcast is a really big part of that for me, because I kept saying to myself, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do with myself. I know what I love. I know what I love to talk about, but how can I do it? And I tried to create it a few different times in a few different ways, and it didn't work. And this truly has worked the best for me. And it's just because I kind of got out of my own way, and I'm just talking about what feels right. That's it. That's all I'm doing. So start a podcast. I mean, it's kind of simple, unless you're afraid. Yeah, unless you're afraid to speak in front of people. Speaking of which, couple things in my random podcast today. So one is I officiated my first wedding, and that was so cool. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, someone asked me if I would officiate their wedding. And I was like, oh my God, super cool. So I went on, I got whatever, ordained online. So easy. Anybody can do it. It's kind of ridiculous. Like one of the most sacred things, right? It's so easy to get ordained. So I got ordained. My husband actually did too. And we thought it would be fun to like both have, our ordination and be able to perform weddings because we're so passionate about marriage. That's like definitely one of our passions, and our belief that like 95% of your happiness is marrying the right person, because we live it. We believe it, we live it, we get evidence of it. So this person asked me to do it a few years ago, and then it never happened. So I think, the whole COVID thing or whatever, and then they lost interest in me, I guess. Like apparently I probably said something they didn't agree with, but that's fine. So then like a couple weeks ago, I had told friends of mine that I got ordained, like kind of randomly. I think her son was getting married, and I was just like, hey, if you ever need anybody, if they need somebody. Well, they planned their wedding in like a week because they were just so tired of not being married. And with all the restrictions and everything, they just decided to throw it together with a super small group on the beach. And I was like, yes, I would love to do that. So couple things that I learned during this first officiation. One is I wrote these really beautiful vows, and a couple hours before the wedding, they decided not to use them, which is fine. But I have these beautiful vows. So if any of you are getting married, I already have these beautiful vows written. I think that the change of the vows was part of my like letting go and realizing this isn't about you, right? Like this is about them and not your brilliant way you speak or these beautiful words. It really is about them and what they want. So there was a letting go in that process that was really helpful in moving through this with them. And they were such a beautiful couple, just beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness. I just feel so honored to be part of something like that. Even, my insignificant part that we can blow up and make more important than it is. So anyways, so we go down and we do this. We had to hike down this really crazy thing, which definitely calmed me down. My nerves were so chill, and I just felt really it was so meant for me to be there with these beautiful people, and to see them through this part of their life. And it was awesome. So two things I learned was weddings never go as they're planned. So you just got to be fluid and go with the flow. And the second thing I learned is it's not about me. Like it's about them. It's about their love, and it's about creating that energy of love with them, but not being, not having any that huge pressure. So I would love to do that again. So if any of you are getting married, I also have like a whole closet full of bridesmaid dresses and wedding dresses if you need any of those. I have one beautiful wedding dress that's never been worn, still is at David's Bridal, and I'm willing to give somebody a deal on that. This is like all about selling shit today, I guess. And the last thing I want to share in my random podcast today is that I came in second in my body fat challenge, and so did my husband. And people are cracking up now. And I don't know if you've ever seen All My Children, but we're calling me the Susan Lucci of transformation contest, because she went up to the plate so many times, and I think it was like her 8th nomination that she finally got an award. So it's kind of hysterical. At this point, it's funny. And I said, at this point, when I do win, people are going to be really freaking happy for me. And I was so happy for the girl that won. This is the funny part about competing, because I am very competitive and I am very aware of my ego and stuff. And I worked so hard. Like the grind with me is definitely something that I'm working on, is not grinding things out so much. So the last couple of weeks have been really tough. I was definitely, overtraining my body, and, not eating any carbs. So I was kind of miserable. But I realized that, and I won. I really realized that I won. I was at the gym the other day, and this guy goes, "You look really, really good." And I thought, oh yeah, that's what this is about. It's not really, I'm really winning the body that I want, so it's okay. But I am in like the best shape of my life, seriously. And I feel really good about myself. And yes, I'm going to do it again. I know I'm cray cray, but I'm going to do it again with my husband because it was really a great focus for us. Like we get into such a great flow and a great focus of being healthy and strong and competing and, just calling ourselves to our greatest potential, calling ourselves beyond where we thought we could go, especially at this stage of our life. Like my husband's 51. I'm going to be 49 this weekend. What? The hell? How did that happen? Yeah, I'll be 49 on the 29th. Yeah. Wait, what? So, just calling ourselves beyond that potential, like rising up. And the trainer we have, the owner of this gym, he's always calling us beyond where we think we can go. And I love that about him. If you are local to Southern California, I highly recommend Beachbody Fitness. It is absolutely an amazing gym. It's in Irvine, California. And I have not only exceeded my fitness goals, but I have found a family there, people that I adore and love. And it's the best people that I found here. It's definitely my tribe. So, all right. Well, I love you all. Sorry for all the random chatter. Hopefully, I actually, last time I was doing the podcast, I thought, God, that was very like boring and very, stuck to the script kind of thing. And I want this to be a little looser, and I want you to be part of my life experience and realize that I'm going through the same things that you go through, and I am conducting and having to, to, recalibrate where I'm at sometimes, and to really take stock and to go, oh man, I'm really feeling crappy right now, and how can I feel better, and do I have something to heal, and do I need to go within? And I'm offering assistance. I'm offering locking arms with people right now, and I don't really know, to be honest with you, I don't really know how long that's going to go on for, because as the podcast grows, I'm going to be offering programs, but I don't know if people are going to get me, because the dream, the goal is to monetize past that and to be able to be more of a global influence. That's really my dream here, is to bring more people to these teachings and to help people to live their joy and to live their power and to create, and not to live a life that is less than, but to live a life of their greatest potential. So I love you all. Check out my new website, livelifegolden.com. If you haven't read Quantum Speak yet, it's not there. It's on Amazon. And Quantum Speak for Parents is also really good if you are a parent. So I love you all. Till next time. Peace.